What's up? Hey,
Hey, Gus.
I just got a
Hey,
notification
we're
on
in the
YouTube. Answers by guesses live, it said. Sweet.
nice job, nice job. Hey, we're into week one, part two, and we've got a lot to cover. Hey, we're Answers by Guess, the inside scoop from outside the box. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit that notification so you know when we're going live. All the other social media channels. More subscribers would really appreciate it. And as I said on, I think it was Wednesday, we're commercial free, unlike Red Zone and
That's
many
good.
other of those podcasts. So
It's going to
that's a
be
good thing.
interesting today. I just noticed, Bridge, our names aren't on the screen. I don't have my name on here. I wonder why.
Mine was on the screen. Yeah,
Oh,
mine
now
was
we're
on
up
there.
close. Oh, yeah, whatever. All right, well, what should we
All
do?
right.
Talk about Thursday?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I wanted to start off. So, following the buzz, I mean, there's a lot that happened Thursday, Friday, into Saturday morning. So, I want to start with the Guest Gazette news and notes. And the one thing that I wanted to ask you about is the red alert. Red alert, red alert. There's fear in the air, panic in the streets. So, first of all, we'll go into more detail on the Thursday and Friday games, but really that set the stage. Um, right away we had the spitting incident, and the Eagles lost a key member of the defensive line. That really, I think, changed the game. But you did say the Cowboys were gonna look better than a lot of people thought. The next day we had the Kelsey collision. Broke Worthy almost in half. His shoulders popped. So that changes the outcome of the game. And then a couple big injury list additions, of course, CMC. And all I see from the buzz is people panicking. Got to trade CMC. I should have started Hollywood Brown. Oh, what are we going to do? So there's panic in the streets. We haven't even finished week one. And listening to you over the years, you've always talked about strategy, and you've got to take the ebb and flows of what happens. So just wanted to get your strategy level, high level take on some of these things that have occurred in the first three days, and we still have a lot of week one left to go.
Yeah, Dallas Philly game started exactly how I thought pretty much the whole game would play out. I mean, for the first 40 minutes of it before that rain delay, it was high scoring, back and forth. Dallas was right in it. Dallas was about to take the lead before the Miles Sanders fumble. And then it was the rain delay, which is ridiculous. There was a lightning strike, but whatever. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, they would have played through that. And I feel like that just killed the whole game. And I tried to stay awake, and I actually did stay awake until right about when they started. Next thing I know, I wake up, it's 1 a.m., and I was like, oh man, I missed the end of the game. What happened? I look back at my phone, the score's exactly the same. I look at the drive charts, nobody did anything. So if you wasted an hour of your life staring at the TV, listening to people talk about nothing, um, and watched the rest of that game, you were probably a little disappointed because the first 40 minutes of the game, first two thirds were incredible. And the last third of it, the last 20 minutes, was a bunch of nonsense. Cowboys run game. People are going to overreact with the Javonte Williams because he scored the two touchdowns. Oh, I should have started Javonte. No, you shouldn't have. No, you shouldn't have. He's not startable week one of the season because he very easily could have had nothing. Because a lot of people thought that the Cowboys were going to do nothing. Marty, I think you yourself, much of my coworkers, when I was telling them on Thursday, I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. They were basically like, Cowboys aren't going to be able to do anything. Their offense is terrible. And I said, well, Dak's back. Jake Ferguson's back. They have George Pickens. And their running backs are better than they were last year. Javonte, if you've watched this show ever before, you know that I'm a big fan of Javonte Williams. He's a great RB3, 4 to have on your team. He fell into the end zone a couple times. You don't overreact. People are going to put him in the starting lineup either because of that or a combination of that, and maybe one of their starters doesn't do much today, and they automatically think that they're going to have to start Javonte. Till we see everything unfold, until you really analyze your roster after today, you can't make those type of decisions. Late in the game, Dallas had a chance to win. There were 2 pass interference calls that I feel like the refs just didn't see. Ball just a little bit out in front of CD Lamb that he had to dive for. All things considered, I mean, the Eagles, people are going to overreact with A.J. Brown. But the last few games, he hasn't done much. He's coming off an injury. And they were smart. The Eagles are a smart team. They didn't have to force it to A.J. Brown because Goddard was killing the Cowboys. Cowboys have always been bad against the tight end, as have the Eagles. I've said that for multiple seasons on the Answers by Guess. And they're not going to force the ball to A.J. Brown just because you have him on your team. And odds are too many people are going to sit A.J. Brown next week, and it's going to bite them. So we can't overreact. It's going to be the theme of the show. I think it's in the headline of the show that I typed. It means nothing and everything all at once. That's week 1. Like, it really means nothing, but in the moment, it means everything to football fans and fantasy football managers.
Yeah, this Eagles-Cowboys game just started off. It was almost like starting off as a hockey game. It was so chippy. I had the ejection. They scored on 7 of the 8 first possessions. It was going really good until, like I predicted, weather coming in. That lightning delay just killed everything and the momentum in the game. The rest of it was no good. Jalen was Jalen. Just a really nice, solid game. Dak zinged it around. CD, a couple of their other receivers. Pickens, not as much. But the one thing I wanted to ask you, maybe we'll talk a little bit about this, but Dotson was sort of the main guy for the Eagles, and whether we talk about it today or on Tuesday, is Dotson somebody that people should be looking at down the line if Brown and Smith are gonna be covered, or people are gonna focus on them and let Jalen win on his legs and bark his legs and a couple passes to Goddard and Dotson to win it.
Yeah, they brought in Dotson last year in the trade to be their wide receiver 3. He was a super boomer bust for Washington. And then this year they brought in Mechie, and I talked up Mechie going in. But as long as Dotson produces, Mechie could be left alone. But he'll be a waiver wire ad, and you could start him next week, and it's the A.J. Brown week. So it's you're not starting anybody like that, I think, until the bye weeks or if there's catastrophic injuries today.
Yeah. Well, as you know, school has started, so I gave a few grades here, a little review of your ABG3Ps. So obviously the Eagles won 24-20. You had predicted the Cowboys to win 25-24, and the Cowboys had a chance at the end to win it.
I guess the Eagles score right.
We'll give you a half point. But the Cowboys, a few drops, pass interference, just some crazy things. I thought they were going to go down the field and pull it up, but they didn't. Dak Prescott, 250 passing yards. You predicted over. He was at 188. A.J. Brown, 75 receiving yards, under. He had 8 yards. CD Lamb, you called push.
I said a push.
He was right on 7
You know how much money you would win if, like, the odds of being over or under are so much higher than a push, and I said push. It was a push.
Yeah, do what I say, not what I do. Jalen Hurts, 35 rushing yards. He was over 35 in the first quarter. Had a really nice game. And Saquon was didn't really need to give him the ball too much. They gave it a little bit to Shipley and spread it around, but he was at 60 yards. I see him getting stronger.
I'd say that's a hell of a report card for game 1, Marty.
Yeah, that's. And I was just warming up here, and so that's a nice start. All
Let's see
right,
if
let's
the
go.
next game is as good.
So let's go to Friday night's game, and you and I both talked about this. I'm loving the Chargers and Herbert this year,
Yeah.
and I just love their game plan. Uh, they got it to the Q, they got it to Keenan Allen, they had Lad McConkey, they went to a tight end that I haven't heard about in a while, Tyler Conklin. Hampton was serviceable in the running game. Overall, just a really nice game from the Chargers. On the Chiefs side, their momentum hit. You had the Kelsey collision, Worthy broken in half, his shoulders not good. We'll get updates later. But I thought Mahomes looked like the Mahomes of old quite a bit, scrambling around, making big plays. Just a really solid game. Hollywood Brown seemed to be the receiver of choice, but funny enough, during the game, he had 9 receptions for 50 yards. And then Mahomes was scrambling around, dodging tackles, and heaved one to a wide open Brown for 49 yards. So Brown finished with 10 catches, 99 yards. But really, going in this, what's your take on what you saw for these two teams and moving forward?
Yeah, I think, and I thought the Chargers are the better team. I think that I agreed with you. The Chargers are going to win the division. I just thought in this game that the Chiefs would find a way to win because that's what they have done historically. They had a chance, but the Chargers were in control of this to begin with, and this is going to be much the same. I mean, people are going to overreact to Hampton not doing as great as people thought because Najee will be a little more acclimated with his one eye next week. But Quentin Johnston, people are going to overreact to. I should have started Quentin Johnston. I saw that on a lot of fantasy pages, and my simple comment was, no, you shouldn't have. Week 1, you're not starting Quentin Johnston, and I wouldn't start him week 2 either. Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, but we've seen this from him. And until he puts some consistency together, we've seen him drop touchdowns wide open. I'm not overreacting to him. Should you pick him up? Well, if you had Xavier Worthy, maybe you pick him up. Somebody had mentioned something, and I saw your reaction to it was a wow face. When I said I would drop Keenan Allen and pick up Doubs. And then I'm sure somebody looked at it, maybe even you, Marty, and said, well, Keenan Allen scored a touchdown and he looked pretty serviceable. Yeah, he did. He's fresh. He's also 34 years old. And we've seen him break down. He looked really good in the beginning of the year for the Bears as well. I'm playing this game, as we all should, for the long haul. But guess he'll get me by week 1 and week 2. Sure, maybe. But have another plan in mind because Dobbs finds the end zone too. So just that little comparison that somebody asked about, I like him season long better than Keenan Allen, but he came through if you started him. But again, there's really no reason anybody should have started Keenan Allen week 1. As far as the Chiefs go, Worthy is a buzzkill. I thought they were going to use Noah Gray more, so I was wrong on that. Kelsey looked good, but again, Keenan Allen effect. He looked fresh. We'll see. He looked fast on his breakaway touchdown. Fast enough anyway. Let's see. Pacheco dropped a couple balls and didn't look as, I want to say, angry as we typically see him. He did get angry on a couple of the misses and stuff like that. But I think he'll be fine as a bye week fill-in as we go. And I'm happy. I'm not a hater, but I'm happy with the Chiefs' loss because I don't want to see him in the Super Bowl. So the more losses they pile up, the better.
The Chiefs, I believe, have the Eagles next week. So
should be a good one.
Yes. So the great card on the Chargers Chiefs.
Not as good.
You predicted the Chiefs to win 22-20. Justin Herbert 240 yards passing. He was way over at 318. Mahomes almost at 260. So you went under on that. So let's kick that out.
If we rewind the tape, I'm going to pause and interrupt real quick. If we rewind the tape, I think I said something similar on Mahomes. I might have said 258.
You may
And so-
have. I should. I'll have to check that, call that out. But you're dead on the quarterbacks. Hampton, I thought, did okay, but the focus was Herbert throwing to four different players consistently.
Oh, I'm going to pause you before you get to the next one. You talked about Tyler Conklin. Rich Eisen, I've always been a fan of him. During the game, he was calling him Will Disley after that fumble. And I'm thinking to myself, Will Disley doesn't play for them anymore. And I'm looking, I see the back of the jersey, Conklin. I'm like, that's Tyler Conklin. He's actually a decent tight end backup bye-week fill-in, and I thought that going into the season because they do like the tight end, and he was okay for the Jets. So carry on.
And then like I said, Hollywood Brown had the big game, obviously with Worthy out, and
that's the reason.
Yeah,
that's the reason. Worthy doesn't get hurt.
He had 9 catches for 50 yards. 9 catches for 50 yards before that last scramble.
If Worthy doesn't get hurt, he's probably in the 4 to 5 range at most. I would say.
Yeah, definitely. So a great start, I thought, to the NFL Week 1 season. So got a couple questions, a little appetizer here. So Derek says, thinking of starting Mason as a flex over Ridley. Ridley has a tough matchup, and Mason gets a shot at Monday Night Magic. Thoughts?
Yeah, Derek, I hope you're watching, and I always love when a member of the ABG family uses one of our taglines, Monday Night Magic. We've been saying that for as long as the show's been going. I would do that because, Ridley going – what's up, Derek? Thanks for watching. I would do that. Ridley going against Denver, in Denver. Rookie quarterback going against this defense in Mile High. And I'm playing Mason myself in one league. And it's the same exact thought. Monday Night Magic, they're at home, especially if they happen to be beating up on the Bears. I think they will preserve Aaron Jones, and Jordan Mason will get a lot of the late stuff. I'm not sure if that's exactly what's going to happen. Stay tuned for when we go over that game. But just in case, I would do this. Yes, Derek.
All right. I agree. Ridley, I think, is going to have a really tough matchup with that Surtain and the Denver defense.
And real quick, most times anybody this day and age, they'll say in a flex, you always play a wide receiver over running back. I disagree with that. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, as you can see.
All right. Spencer needs a flex. Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Juwan Jennings, and Rashad White.
I can't do the White. He could wind up being the best of these. I can't do that. So it's going to be a wide receiver here. Ridley, I don't hate Ridley. I just like the idea of Mason better than Ridley. And I can't believe I'm saying this. And we know what happens, Spencer, when I recommend somebody that I'm not particularly fond of. But I'm going to go with Jacoby here. I'm going to go with Jacoby. I think the matchup is the best. And he's the number 2. And the number 1 is a rookie, a stud rookie. He was on our 5 guys for your eyes. I do think the Patriots defense is going to do a hell of a job against the Raiders today and Geno. But because of that, I think there'll be a lot of air needed for the Raiders. So I'm going to go with Jacoby. And that's I can see the Jennings side, but he's been sort of in and out of injuries, and I do like Pearsall. I'm going to go with Jacoby. Tread lightly.
All right. Yeah, Jennings is one of those either has a super high ceiling and gathers a ton of points, or he does nothing. And I think just with his contract negotiations and potentially injuries and such, I just think Jacoby could be a good choice here.
I'm going to throw this up real quick. Antonio, He always asks me after the show, when's the next show? He made the show. I hope my everyone tag allowed this to happen. I hope that's what you saw. Thanks for joining us, Antonio. Okay, carry on.
All right. All right. Who do you guys like better, the Rams defense or the Bears defense this week? I know you answered this, but he currently has the Rams, considering the Bears due to playing a rookie quarterback. And that's your boy JJ, you know.
Yeah, I wrote back. I don't like either one. I would probably give a slight lean to the Rams. And I know I had mentioned that the Vikings are at home, the Bears are at home. Because I remember now. Both these defenses are at home, but I'm going to go with the Rams, even though I like CJ Stroud to bounce back. I really like the rookies and players that they added. But I'm going to go with the Rams like 51-49. What's up, Tim?
51-49, huh? You had the Texans as the number one 5 guys for your eyes.
The defense.
Yeah, the defense. Well, if they're going to give up oh, if you're talking about the final score for the Rams was going to be 51-49.
No, 51-49%. Rams defense 51%, Bears defense 49%. I want to see the Bears defense really do it. And I think even on the road, the Vikings, I don't want to give too much away when we talk about that game, but I just think the Rams defense, although maybe not in the recent past, is better than the Bears. I'm just going to go with them.
All right. That's the questions we had prior to our show. So 1 and 2, then let's get into a lot of matchups here. Week 1 matchups for Sunday and Monday. And as we mentioned on our Wednesday show, there are a lot of rivalry games. The first game is the Battle of Ohio. Bengals favored 5.5 over the Browns, over under 48.5. Going to be a little gusty off the Lake Erie there, mostly cloudy, 65. Shouldn't be bad. We've got Flacco and the Browns. Judkins just signed. Obviously, we probably won't see him, but we got the Ford and Sampson back there. Judy, Juco. On the Bengals side, I'm sure we're playing everybody. Will the Bengals defense be able to stop the Browns? Many people think the Browns are going to make this game competitive. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was last season, Marty, where these two played each other in opening week as well. And I think the Bengals were heavy favorites. I said the Browns are going to win, and the Browns did win. And the Bengals start off slow, and the Browns give them trouble. You mentioned it. It's that Battle of Ohio. If I were a betting man, I'd probably take that 5.5. You're getting almost a touchdown. I would buy the hook if you could up to 6. And take the Browns +6. I do think they keep it relatively close. I think Flacco's going to give them a chance. Yeah, as far as the players, I mean, it's week 1. Much like, I should have started Javonte. I should have started Quentin Johnson. I should have started Keenan Allen. No, you should start the guys that you drafted to be your starters, especially when the matchups are like this. It should be relatively high scoring. You look at the over-under there. I like that you put that there, by the way. So you play Chase and you play the other Chase. I don't think you touch the tight ends with the Bengals. I think because I'm rooting for them this little bit with my heart, I think the Bengals win this one by 3. Maybe a late field goal. Maybe they're already up by 3 in a defensive stand type of thing, but I'm not sitting my Browns if I don't have to. The guys you mentioned, Judy and Joku, if you drafted them, I'd probably stray away from their running backs. Let's see how this shakes out. I'm not a huge fan of Ford. However, you can run on the Bengals in years past, but every year is a new season. So I would find another option.
For sure.
I'm going to try and make these short and sweet because we got a lot to get through.
We got a lot to cover. All right.
So if I don't mention a particular player,
I'll bring it up. Or
or somebody else who's watching can type
bring
it
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to a couple more games. We do have another question. We'll get that on the board. Next game, the New York Giants against your Washington Commanders. Commanders favored by 6, another pretty good over under 45.5. Weather should be pretty good. Rain getting out of the area by game time, hopefully. We talked a little bit about the rookie and second-year quarterbacks. Obviously, the Redskins running game, who's going to take the lead? Eckler? Is it going to be Chris Rodriguez or or Bill Krosky? On the Giants side, Neighbors has got a little bit of a back injury. What's the running game going to be like? I do like the Giants defense a little bit, but thoughts on this game as another big rivalry game on the NFC East.
Yeah, I mentioned early on the first two shows that I do foresee a little bit of a Jaden Daniels regression this year. I still think he'll be good. I still think he is great. But I don't think he's going to have a top 5 season. However, this week at home against the Giants defense, I think he'll do all right. I probably wouldn't touch this game from a betting aspect. However, I would take Theo Johnson for the Giants in his over receiving yards because I think it's like 22. And I really think he's a stud. I think he had a great rookie season last year. I think that Russell Wilson, and if he goes down, Jameis Winston, if he goes down, the rookie, they'll all lean on Theo this year so long as Theo could get healthy. I think if he has a big game, I think he could be a waiver wire scoop for some teams that if their tight end goes down or they just want to roster a backup tight end. I'm not too worried about Neighbors in this one. The Commanders, you could pass on them. I'm not playing Mr. Wandale that people were asking about, Wandale Robinson. And for the Commanders, I think Terry will have a nice game. Their tight end, and the running backs, I'm staying away from. I do think that we've seen this before, right? Teams will list someone who people are thinking should be the best or the number one. They list them way down on the depth chart. JCM, Bill. And the game goes into it, and he winds up being the top dog. It's games. It's gamesmanship. It's mind games. I think that the cream will rise to the top. And he's a 7th round pick, but his preseason tape shows, his college tape shows, he's got what it takes. Not hating on Rodriguez, but I think we'll see a lot of Eckler. We'll see some Rodriguez early, but I think that after this game, it'll be clear that JCM is not 4 on the depth chart, and unless he's inactive, which I don't see happening, but they could because most teams won't start 4 running backs. So that's a possibility as well. But if we see him, I think we see him rise that depth chart and our eyes get open. So we're watching, we're putting him on our bench. And if he scores 2 touchdowns, nobody should be saying, especially me, I should have played JCM. No, you shouldn't have. You got to wait and see. Get a little bit of data, then make your decisions. We always talk about it, Rob and I, and now you and I. 4 weeks. After week 4, you can sort of make these sort of moves. For now, let's see. Let's see what happens. We need a sample size. Today is just going to be a small piece of that.
Okay. So if you have, are you Giants running game?
I'm going to go with
Tracy. Tracy? Okay.
I would play Tracy and feel safe about it if I drafted him as my RB2. We'll see what happens with Scatabo, but I would feel okay with Tracy. It's a little tough sometimes to run on the Commanders, but I would feel pretty confident with Tracy today. I think you're going to see a lot of checkdowns with him, with Russ.
Yeah. All right. Steelers versus the Jets now. Steelers
my favorite
by
game
3. But the over on this, I couldn't find this. I was searching the total over under 37.5. I can't think of a game, and maybe you can, recently that had such a low point total. But obviously, there's a storyline. You've got Aaron Rodgers returning to the Jets. Justin Fields trying to prove that he's worthy of starting for an NFL team. I think this is going to be a really rough and tough game. 65 degrees, rain, so it could be a little bit ugly. What are your thoughts on these Steelers players, the running game? DK, is he going to make a difference on the Jets side? Who's really going to take the running game, Allen or Hall? And then you got Garrett Wilson and company, and that tight end that Rob caught as a bonus that could make some noise too.
Yeah, this is my favorite game of the week because it's Rodgers against his old team from last year and Fields against his old team from last year. And also because it's expected, as you can see, as Marty pointed out, to be boring and low scoring. I'm a poet and I know it. But I think that surprisingly, both teams could show some points. I mean, I've talked about a lot of these guys. I'm excited to see players in this that I'm not going to be playing this week. Roman Wilson, Jordan, not Jordan Mason. That's his name. Why can't I think of it? The tight end, the rookie tight end. You'll remind me. But Roman Wilson, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the Jets backfield because I had just talked about I'm not worried about Tyrone Tracy, but I would be a little worried about both Breece Hall and Braylon Allen because I kind of get the feeling, yes, it's the Steelers defense. Yes, it's very tough, but I'm a little worried that that's a little gamesmanship as well. And I do think Breece is their number one, and I think he's going to play motivated today to not lose that starting job. He also wants to up his value because if Braylon does become the guy, he's probably going to be out of there in due time. So I kind of think Breece might outplay Braylon Allen today, but I don't feel safe with either one of them. I'm interested to see how many targets Garrett Wilson gets because who else are we throwing to? I'm excited to see Fields. Rob, if you're still watching, diehard Jets fan, I think if I was a Jets fan, I'd be so excited for Justin Fields. I'd be so excited to have an electric quarterback like Fields. And people say, well, he can't stay on a team. Well, the Bears rushed him out because they fell in love with being the talk of the town, having the number one pick, getting Caleb Williams, which I said at the time was a mistake. You should just keep Fields. And then last year's situation with the Steelers, he was 4-2 his first 6 games. And they brought Russ Wilson in, and who did okay as well. But if he would have continued out the season, I mean, do the math. 12-6, 12-5, because they play 17. So, or 11-6, which would have been just fine as well. So I think he did very good last year. And Aaron Rodgers probably going to be his last season, and he loves guys like Roman Wilson. And I think DK is a definite start today. I think this game can go over easily. I see why people would think it would go under, but I just think there's enough desire for both teams on offense to really push each of these defenses and get over this total. It's one of my favorite plays. Roman Wilson receiving total. I haven't looked at it, but I would probably look at that too when we get off the air.
All right. Yeah, it's Mason Taylor for the Jets.
Mason Taylor. I said Mason, and then I was like, wait.
Yeah, and
what the hell's his last name?
You got Freiermuth and Johnny Smith for the Steelers there, but ugly game. And like you said, maybe both quarterbacks and teams surprise us. I think it's gonna be a sleeper, but
yeah,
you can let me know how it goes.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Just want to say, Nate, when we're talking about Redskins, Bill going to show out. Just comment on that.
I hope so.
We'll go one more game here before a few questions. We've got the Buccaneers and Falcons, and this is one of my favorite games. Number one, over-under is 47.5. But last year, and I know last year is different from this year, but both teams really put up a lot of points. Threw the ball all over, ran the ball all over. They just you got Penix in his sophomore year throwing to London. I know they do Moody's questionable, but he'll probably play. You got Bijan on the Buccaneers side. Bucky Irvin's the man. Someone asked about should I play White, as a flex. And then you got the rookie from Ohio State starting along with Mike Evans. So what do you see in this game, and who are your favorites that you should be starting or sitting?
Yeah, a lot of people loving this one. Obviously, Vegas does as well with that over-under total right there. I hope this lives up to it. I hope it goes over. On my most important league, I got Mike Evans on one side. I got Bijan, my number one overall pick, on the other side. I'm a big fan of Michael Penix. Loved him at Washington. I hope he plays well in this game and his trajectory sort of continues as the season goes on. I really hope so. And I think that getting that late start last year and his last game that he played was his best game. Hopefully that carries over into this. You're not playing him, but you're playing Bijan. I'm going to go to the well once more, Marty. And I'm going to say I like Kyle Pitts in this one. I think that if he screws me in this one with Michael Penix as his quarterback, with an actual good quarterback and an actual good coach, I'm going to say Kyle Pitts gets back on the fantasy radar after this one. He is plummeted in drafts. He's undrafted in shallow leagues in some places. People have cast him aside. I like him in this one. I like him as their second best option. You mentioned Mooney's probably going to play. And then the other guys they got, Ray McLeod, they still got him hanging around there. So I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a day. I'm rooting for the Bucs because, Marty, I know you have, and if anybody else that's watching knows how much I love Baker Mayfield. So I hope he continues to kill it. Aguka's the absolute stud. Get him in your lineup today for sure. And I love Bucky Irving. So I like everybody in this game for the most part. So get your guys in there that should be in there week one of the season.
And my focus, London, is very highly touted, and I really want to see how he does here, opening up game number one.
And Cade Otton, he's actually going to play. He's back healthy, so we'll see what he does. But you're not playing him. If you ask me, do I play Kyle Pitts or Cade Otton, I say Kyle Pitts.
All right.
Can you throw Antonio's comment up there real quick? I just want to get
to it. Just saw it pop up.
I don't know.
Back in the Pittsburgh Jets game, we didn't mention it all about the running game for the Steelers.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, I love Warren today. I think he's going to catch a ton of passes. I actually love him this season. I think he's going to steal the show in there. I think it's going to be hard for, Caleb Johnson? Is that his name? I think it's going to be hard for him to really match the level that people are hoping. Jaylen Warren's a stud. Contract extension. Anytime he was on the field last year, he was catching the ball and getting double-digit yards, it seemed like, throughout his career, especially last year. So I love him.
Yep, I think Rodgers is going to keep him as a good safety net.
Yeah, yes.
He's going to depend on him a lot.
The perfect quarterback for Jaylen Warren.
All right, Tim just wanted to add he wished Baker was still in Cleveland. Man, we've had a circus.
They ran him out of town, man. They ran him out of town.
All right, we'll go one more game here. We've got the Cardinals and the Saints. Now, someone, let's see here. Who said that? Timothy said that. Kyler has an illness this morning, but is starting versus the Saints, they say. So that's breaking news.
That's interesting.
Obviously, you got Trey McBride. You've got Marvin Harrison. You've got the old man Connors, even though he's not that old, for the Cardinals. The Saints, Rattlers getting the start. Olave, we have a question about him we'll bring up. Not many people are looking forward to the Saints. You got old man Kamara probably getting a ton of touches. Is he going to be durable through the season? This is a game that could be really interesting. A lot of unknowns. I think the Cardinals' defense is pretty good. But really, over the years, the Cardinals, just when you think you're going to love them and they're going to get over that hump and start playing really well, they go backwards. They're so inconsistent. So what are players that you like in this game or that you prefer to sit?
Here's a game where I make up time, Marty. McBride will score a touchdown. I like that prop for the day. Marvin Harrison, I think it's going to be a bounce back. Last year, he had a poor week 1, a good week 2, I believe. I think he has a good week 1. This one, hopefully it's Kyler. We'll have to watch that carefully. James Conner, I'm not rooting for a demise, but if you own Trey Benson, you should be having your eyes peeled on this one because it's going to happen soon, and Trey Benson's going to light the world on fire, hopefully. For the Saints, I don't like Rattler. I wish they went with my boy Jungle Jake Hayner, but I think he's third string. I do think he gives them the best chance to manage a game, however, so we'll see how that goes. Olave, I pray for him to stay healthy. Please stay away from his head because he'll be just fine. I'm wondering if somehow Taysom Hill will come out of retirement and come back to these guys because they could use a player like that at quarterback. Kamara, you mentioned it. Sure. Everybody loves what's the other guy's name? Why can't I think of it? Because I don't even like him. Their second guy.
Kendra Miller.
No. Oh. Receiver. Rashid Shaheed. Yeah. He's a one-trick pony. He'll probably show a trick today. So keep your eyes on Kyler. McBride, play his touchdown prop. I didn't save much time, but I tried.
Yep. All right. We're going to take a break here and hit a couple other questions. Some of these are from some upcoming games, but Antonio asks McCaffrey, DJ Moore, or Montgomery.
All right. Gosh. This is tough. CMC with his injury thing. However, he says he's fine. DJ Moore. I do think Odunze is gonna overtake him. I don't know if it happens this week. I don't know. We'll see. Montgomery, I get the idea. I do think Ben Johnson leaving is really going to hurt his type of thing. I'm going to go with CMC. I'm going with CMC. They're at home against Seattle. Winnable game. I think they get some short fields. We haven't talked about it yet, but so I'll get more into it with that. But I'm going CMC.
All right. I agree. I'm going to, McCaffrey's had those injuries. I think, you're just being safe.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets hurt during the game and it'll be like, everybody will be like, I told you so. But
he's the right play.
Until we see it, I think he's the right play.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be too concerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, hey, Rob.
What's up, Rob?
Let's go. Good luck, everyone.
He's got a question down there, too.
Yeah. Olave, Chubb, or Stevenson have PPR?
I'm going to go with Olave. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. All he's got to do is not get hit in the head. I'm going with Olave, Rob. I think it's the safest. Chubb's in a three-headed monster. He's a shell of himself. Stevenson is a RB1 to Henderson's RB2. And you could flip that around if you want until we see something. But I'm going with Olave. He's the best wide receiver on the team. They're going to have to throw the ball. Olave.
All right.
Morning, Evan.
Let's go back to hey, Evan. Good morning. All right. Now, Panthers-Jaguars. Jaguars favored by 3.5. Over under 46.5. Now, look for some thunderstorms. Don't be surprised if they get a lightning delay here as the game starts or into the first half. Liam Cohen, the new coach, people are really liking him with his offensive mind. You've got Lawrence. You've got My question is, and it was the question last year, is the Jags always seem to be better when they can run the ball, dump off to their running backs, and then that opens it up for the receivers. And I think their tight end Strange is going to have a great game. On the other hand, you love Bryce. Obviously, Coker has an injury, so now you've got Leggett and also the rookie McMillan, and you've got Hubbard there. It should be an interesting game. I'm leaning the Panthers on this, but what's your thoughts? Who should we be playing? Who should we be sitting?
Barring any sort of rain delay to kill it like they did with Dallas and Philly, this will be the highest scoring game of the week. I have a feeling. I think both teams get into the 30s. I think there's offensive firepower on both teams and lack of defensive firepower, I guess, for lack of a better term. You mentioned McMillan. I'm playing him everywhere I can. You probably don't have to play Xavier Leggett, but for as long as Coker's not there, he's their number 2. He had flashes last year. Jatavian Sanders, love him at tight end. Chuba, love him at running back. All he does is produce, and he could produce against this Jaguars team. And they said that what's his face, Travis is going to play all tons of offensive snap, every single offensive snap or whatever. So yeah, and then you got BTJ, and they have a trio of running backs that could run the ball and catch passes, like you talked about, Marty. They got Tootin, my boy Bigsby, and they still have ETN. So I think, and then you mentioned Brenton Strange. I think this is going to be the highest scoring game of the week. That's so I would say the over on this one. But the only thing that you have to worry about is if there's lightning and it kills that sort of momentum like we saw on Thursday, it's going to screw your bet.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see how much Lawrence is going to be focusing on Travis Hunter. He's got a lot of tools. I've always been an ETN fan. I know he's struggled over the last couple of years. There was even talk before Judkins signed that the Browns were potentially looking at him. I don't know if that would have helped him, but I do like this game. I do think the Panthers will pull it out. Lawrence just hasn't proven anything over the last couple of years. Maybe this is his year with his new head coach. He's had a lot of head coaching and coaching changes.
Yeah,
maybe he gets his head righted up, and he proves me wrong on here. But he does have more tools, and this should be a really good game, barring any thunderstorm delay. All right. Raiders traveling across the United States from the West Coast to the East Coast for a 1 p.m. game. You already talked about the Raiders receivers. And then obviously they're debuting the Boise State rookie as a running game for the Patriots. Drake May, people seem to be high on him. I think he's going to be consistent, steady, going to be able to get the ball out. And obviously, I call this the two-headed monster early on. Who knows if it will be, but you've got Stevenson, obviously, I think is going to be getting a lot of the ball. It's going to be split 50-50. And Henderson, as the season goes on, will get more carries, but I think they're going to use both of them. And it should be a really interesting game here. There is rain in Massachusetts, and that'll be prevalent, like rain throughout the whole day. So how does weather affect that? And who are you liking or wanting to sit here for this Raiders-Patriots game?
I think it's surely very risky, but if you have any sort of iffy wide receiver 3 or flex play, and you can grab or did grab Thornton, I think you could play him in this game. I think he scores a touchdown, and I'm not sure of what his receiving yard total is, but I think I would take the over on that as well. I do think the Patriots are going to be able to I would not be shocked if the Patriots are up 20 plus at any given point in this game. But I think with Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, I think that they're going to be airing the ball out. That's why I sort of recommended Jacoby Myers, a guy that I typically don't even like. So tread lightly with that. But I think the same exact thing with Thornton. And their other option is Bowers. Running back situation, we'll see how Genty looks. I think the Patriots will focus on that. And as far as the Patriots, listen, Josh McDaniels back as the offensive coordinator. You know who's going to blow up in this game? Hunter Henry. I take the Hunter Henry reception total, the yard total, and touchdown today. If you are a prop guy, Hunter Henry is somebody who I'm highlighting, circling, loving going into this game. And the problem with everybody else, like Kyle Williams, who I do like, they're all sort of guys. And if the Patriots defense does what I think they can do in this game, and if the running backs and Hunter Henry, like, we might not have to worry about too much of those. And you think about the old days with Brady and Josh McDaniels, it was the tight ends that were killing. And every once in a while, you get a splash of a wide receiver. I think that comes back into play today with Hunter Henry. And I think he's going to be someone that people are picking up off the waiver wire.
Yeah, I love that call. I really think this is going to be as boring of a game with the Jets and the Steelers. This is going to be running back game, and then May going over to Hunter Henry. They're just going to eat up the clock. The Raiders are going to be struggling to play catch up. They're going to throw interceptions. They're going to turn over the ball. I think Patriots win big, but we'll see from that what happens. All right, one more game, and we got a few more questions coming up. We got the Dolphins against the Colts. My big thing, Tua's back. He's had some injuries. They're playing in a dome. He's got Waddle. He's got Tyreek Hill. People think Hill's gonna do more than he has with his injuries in a couple years. Obviously, Shane and Ali. Who's gonna be? Are we gonna see Ali at all much for the Colts? I think this is just going to be a running game. Maybe Daniel Jones is going to dump it off to the rookie tight end. You might see Pittman a little bit, but who do you like here? Do you think the Dolphins are going to be one of those electric teams like they predicted a couple years ago? And for the Colts, Daniel Jones, you either love him or you hate him. How is he going to steer the ship for the Colts?
The one player I love so much in this game is Jonathan Taylor. He's a player that I wish I drafted. I could see him really coming out hot to start this season. I don't feel like I did with Dallas because it's not to that level, and I'm still fighting myself on it. But I think in Vegas thinks so too. I think the Colts could win this game. Whereas if you took that off the screen and just put them up there, I think people are still so in love with the Dolphins and Achane, and maybe they don't love Tyreek as much, but they still have that memory of the Dolphins being this powerhouse, high-speed, octane offense. And while they could show that against this Colts defense, the Colts have enough on offense as well with the rookie tight end, Tyler Warren. I think is going to splash onto the scene. Pittman, we'll see if he could survive a game for once. Downs. But I kind of think the Colts are going to win this one. I agree with the masses if you're telling me this is what the masses think, which is typically not the case, and that's not by choice. That's by chance. I do think Tyreek Hill is going to have a pretty good game in this one. And I think if you started Tyreek, or if you drafted him and you're thinking you're going to bench him because maybe you drafted him later than you're used to, I would get him in my starting lineup if I could. I like him a lot today. And I'm going to wait and see with Ali. You're getting a free glimpse of him as their 2 with Wright being out. But week 1, he's not somebody that you're even thinking about. So.
I want to see. I have Waddle on my team, so I do want to see how he does.
He disappears from time to time too. He's like
it's not consistent. It's either Hill one week, it's Waddle the next week, somebody else the next week.
They are going to have my boy today. I can't think of his name. I loved him from Hill. I can't think of his first name. The Dolphins, tight end, Hill from years past. Can't think of his name. He was a rookie, Julian Hill. And I talked him up. He was a 5 guy for your eye towards the end of the season. I think he's going to be their tight end today. So he could be somebody because of injuries that maybe you at least put your eye on. So
yeah,
Well, you're
Waller's
not
still
starting him.
out. So Waller's
Yeah.
still out. That'd be a good thing. All right, we'll go one more game, and then got a couple questions here because I think the next game, exactly, this is what I wanted. The Titans and the Broncos. Over
Okay.
under 42. Not too windy, warmer in there, Mile High City. We talked a little bit about this. I mean, obviously the Titans coming out with Cam Ward on a really tough place to play. We talked to Ridley a little bit. Is Marvin, who else is going to be that wide receiver that can help them? What about Tony Pollard? Obviously Spears is out. Is it just going to be a heavy dose of Pollard with Ward checking down? For the Broncos, I do like them. I like Nix. I think he's going to have a really nice season, although I predict the Chargers to win that West. Then really, is it going to be Dobbins or is it going to be the rookie? And you got Cortland Sutton, you've got Evan Ingram, you've got Marvin Mims, so forth. Who are your players you're looking at for this game? I think this is going to be an interesting game. I want to see how the Broncos do. They sometimes don't live up to their hype, and they should destroy the Titans, but we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. I think it'll be surprisingly closer, way closer than 8.5. The Broncos should kill them, but you nailed it on the head, Marty. Sometimes they don't do as good as people think. And for the Titans, I mean, yeah, I said Jordan Mason, I think it was, over Ridley. But I think that's because the Titans are going to go into this with the game plan of, because we don't have to focus on just Ridley as our only main guy. They drafted Alec Ayomanor, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Chig, my boy, Chiggy, looks good towards the end of the year. He starts off so slow every single season. It drives me nuts, but they're going to need him in this one. Then they got the ancillary veterans, Van Jefferson, and who's the other one that they have? I hate him so much, from the Seahawks, Tyler Lockett.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they got lonely old Pollard all by himself. I think you have to play Pollard today. I really do, just because there's absolutely no competition. Yeah, he's got Chestnut and maybe another guy sitting in there, but I think Pollard is going to have a good enough game that I think that he's a pretty safe play. I do see the question down there. I'll wait till it comes up to elaborate more on that. But the Broncos, you nailed it. Ingram, Mims, all of a sudden got a ton of hype, which is crazy to me because Mims been around a couple of years. And we've seen what he can do. The problem is Peyton just refuses to let him do what he can. So will he be able to? We'll see. You could throw on the Titans in years past. Let's see if they do that. And Cortland Sutton, you're probably starting him, but don't be surprised if, because of Ingram, because of the dual head running backfield with Dobbins and Harvey. I do like Harvey for the season, but I think they will split time until Dobbins goes down, because it will happen, unfortunately. Sorry. They got a lot of weapons. So because they're saying and people are hyping up Mims, there's probably some truth to that. And maybe we don't see Cortland Sutton as the only option, especially with Evan Ingram there, because their tight ends in the past were relative trash.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that brings me to this question. I wanted to wait to this Titans game. We talked highly about Warren. So, and Tony asked, do you want to start Warren or do you want to go with Pollard?
Again, the attraction with Warren is the quarterback and the check down, and he is the starter. However, he does have the rookie waiting in the wings who will steal touches. How much touches today? Not sure. I don't think as many as people expect, but I could be wrong. Been wrong before. But I think you got to go with Pollard here. And Antonio, I have a team where I have Warren and Pollard, and I'm playing Pollard. I actually even played Pollard over Omari and Hampton. So that's how strongly I feel about Pollard being the only main running back on the team. I think it's just a little bit more valuable. The matchup in my mind is tougher against the Broncos than it is against the Jets. However, I'm going with Pollard. I'm going with opportunity. I'm going with the guy that's going to be on the field guaranteed more often than the other.
All right. Got a couple other questions, but I want to go to another game here. 49ers at the Seahawks. So obviously this is we've talked a lot about the Seahawks. We talked about their receivers, obviously JSN.
And your Rob bonus or your bridge bonus, sorry.
Yeah. And this is a divisional rivalry game. We've talked about CMC a little bit. He's probably banged up a little bit. Will that calf hold off? How far into the season? People are really nervous about him. Obviously, who then becomes the backup running back? Is this going to be Brian Robinson, or is it going to be Isaac Guerendo? Should CMC either be very limited in this game? CMC says he's fine. So what do you see here on the 49ers and Seahawks? Who are people we should be playing, or who we should be looking for in the future to possibly pick up or stash on our bench?
Well, I love Pierce Hall. There was the writer that came out telling everybody to pump their brakes. I don't think Pierce Hall is automatically their wide receiver one. But I do love where he's fitting into on this team with no Debo or Ayuk. It's him and Jennings, and I like Pierce Hall a lot, and I'd put him in my lineup if I had the spot for him. And in one of my lineups, I do, and that's where he is. It was between him and Rashee Rice, and we know that he got the suspension, so I just put Pierce Hall in because that's what I drafted him for. I drafted Pierce Hall to be my third wide receiver whenever Rice was suspended, and that's where it is, and I like it. As far as the running backs, we talked about CMC. I think it's a fine play. He says he's fine. People blew it out of proportion, and, with good reason, because we know the history of CMC. Kittle will be just fine. You could probably get away with Juwan Jennings today. I did recommend somebody over him, but I'm sure he'll be fine as well. For the Seahawks, I worry about one thing and one thing only, and that is Sam Darnold. I think he was in the perfect offense with the perfect coach and the perfect scheme last season, and when that wasn't enough, he fell apart, and he turned back into the pumpkin he is. The last time Sam Darnold saw ghosts was when he played the 49ers. And I got a sinking feeling, because I don't hate them, but as a Green Bay Packers fan, I really don't like them. The 49ers are going to win this division. And if all things go well, I think that they might end up in the Super Bowl. I think if CMC stays healthy, things break their way. I could see it, because we've seen it before with the Niners. When they stink, they bounce back the next season, and they're stronger than ever. I think they're going to be a powerhouse, and I think it shows right here week one, making Sam Darnold see ghosts once again. JSN I absolutely loved. I loved him before he became the JSN everybody knows last year. I called his breakout last preseason. I worry about him. I know the bridge bonus was the rookie wide receiver on the other side. I do like Elijah Arroyo more. I think that they'll put A.J. Barner at tight end and put Arroyo maybe in the slot or something. And that kind of worries me, because JSN makes his hay in the slot. I think they're going to push him more to the outside. this season, and I think that could hurt them. So for this game, I think the 49ers are going to clobber them. I really do for this game. And I just have a bad feeling about it. But the one player I really love in this game, Marty, if you really think about it, for the Seahawks, who do I really, really love on the Seahawks?
If you really, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
If Rob was watching, maybe he could type it in, or maybe anybody else could. Mr. Charbonnet, I love him. I think this season you're going to see him usurp Kenneth Walker as the RB1 on this team.
Yeah, Walker has that foot issue. Again, I agree with that. Obviously, I'm going to look for my bonus there, Horton.
Yep.
I agree that I think Darnold is going to go back and regress back to when he was with the Jets. But I'd like to see how much of a difference, if any, if Horton plays much and if he's targeted and see if he can open things up. A couple comments or questions here. So Evans said, in one of my leagues, I was able to trade McCaffrey and Evans for Cook and CD right before the injury was announced. Yeah, I mean, McCaffrey's just one of those glass vases. You just handle it incorrectly and you get a crack and you just don't know. It's nerve-wracking. We'll see how he feels. He says he's fine, but we'll see. And then
I just want to touch on that real quick. I probably, when I looked at it initially and still, probably would have kept McCaffrey and Evans. However, I think you made the safer move. However, if CMC stays healthy and Evans stays healthy, I think that they will outscore James Cook and CD. But you did it for safety purposes. And having CD is not a bad problem. I just worry a little bit about how much Ray Davis is going to eat into Cook this year in year 2.
Right. And then Keith, would you start Pierce or B. Rob Jr.?
Oh, God. How are we at this position already, Keith?
I'd like to know his other choices because I don't like either one of them.
I don't either.
Is this where he's backed up in the corner and this is all he has?
This is why I'm wondering, how is he in this position, or is he just asking this hypothetically to really grind my gears? Part of me wants to say Pierce, but I want to see it from him, and I do think Woody Marks is going to be their third down guy. The only reason I'm going to say B-Rob is because I do think the Niners are going to obliterate the Seahawks today and really take it to them. And if they do, B-Rob's going to get a lot of burn late in the game. And if they get close and maybe CMC gets stuffed on first down or first and second down and third down, they're going to bring in B-Rob and he's going to punch it in. So I like B-Rob over Pierce if – for whatever reason, everybody on my team died.
I agree with B-Rob. If there is so-called injury or concern with CMC, and if there is, the game gets a little bit out of hand, or they want to decrease his carries a little bit, I think they'll lean a little bit with B-Rob. So Pierce is an unknown. It's throw a dart. B-Rob, I think there's a little bit more of a strategy that may cut some carries or touches with CMC in this first game.
I agree.
All right. Now, I just wanted to, get Guess's goat here. I got the Lions sweatshirt on.
Oh, now, man.
The only reason is I'm 45 minutes from Detroit. I'm not really a Lions fan, but like I said, I had to get Guess's goat. It's the Lions and the Packers. The Lions have played the Packers tough and have beaten them. I think they beat them twice last year. You're looking for the Lions to regress a little bit. Obviously, they lost their offensive coordinator. We went to be head coach for the Bears. But obviously, are we playing all the Lions here? For the Packers, Jaden Reed's going to play. He's one that probably won't practice all year. Does he hurt himself where he's not able to finish this game? Who are the Packers leaning to? We've talked about Dobbs a little bit. Tucker Kraft, their tight end. It's going to be a great game for the Packers and Lions. Another division rivalry. What do you see out of this game? Who do we Who do we start? Who do we sit?
Yeah, I think this game being at Lambeau Field, the Packers are going to win. The only thing I don't like about this is that the Packers are favorites. Um, and I'm hoping that's a Vegas sort of trick to say, hey, you could get the Lions as an underdog, and more people gravitate toward that. I'd love to see the percentages. I'll look them up in just a second. But I think Ben Johnson not being there is going to change this offense enough, especially week one. It's Jared Goff on the road, outdoors. It doesn't matter that it's not freezing cold. However, Marty did say it's relatively cold where he's at, so it's relatively close to where the Packers play, right? Am I correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So outdoors, Jared Goff has not been his best. Michael Parsons, they're saying limited snaps. Limited might be enough. They also could say the sky is green in Green Bay to scare people off. It doesn't mean anything. If they need him in there, I think he's going to be in there. And you play Jahmyr Gibbs, you play Amon Ra. If you draft him as your third, you play Jameson Williams and hope for the boom play. Taslaw is going to play, given his situation that he went through. So we'll see how he does. TJ Stone for hands, or not so Laporta.
Laporta, yeah.
Yeah, the successor for Stone hands, and he did nothing last year. I could see him bounce back. The weapons are there. I just think the Packers drafted finally the missing piece on offense, and that's Matthew Golden. I think he changes everything because he allows Jaden Reed to be a solid mix-up guy. He allows Romeo Doubs to be a solid number two. He opens up the inside for Tucker Kraft. He opens up the line a little bit for Josh Jacobs. And it's the opener at Lambeau. I think they're going to win. I think Matthew Golden is an absolute must play. If you have him on your team and any one of your three, or if you play in a two, or if you have a couple flexes, any one of those players you're a little iffy on, I think you smash the Matthew Golden week one, because I think he's going to be a household name and an absolute stud. And I'm so glad the Packers finally drafted a wide receiver and not a cornerback, because that's all they pick in the first round is cornerbacks, and they always turn to trash. They finally drafted what they needed. That's what they needed. They've had a mishmash of wide receiver 2s and 3s on their team. They had like 8 of them last season, and you never knew which one to play, never did anything. And I'm so glad Christian Watson's hurt, because he's garbage. So Matthew Golden is going to be the difference that allows them to get over that 2-game or more hump that they have against the Lions.
Yeah, should be a great game. Definitely be keeping track of that. Keith just would have responded. He drafted like crap and had to pivot. You got a great wide receiver core, but no trade bait yet. He's Judkins, who just signed, maybe playing next week. Spears on the bench. So that makes sense. And then Tim mentioned here. Tim mentioned here that Judkins meeting with the NFL this week. You know, hopefully there's no suspension. He could play next week against the Ravens.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. All right. Texas versus the Rams. We've talked about this game a little bit, obviously.
I'll try and speed up on this one, too.
Christian Kirk is hurt, so, Jaden Higgins now becomes a focal point here on the Texas with Nico Collins. Bad offensive line, no established running game. Who's going to lead that? We like Stroud, but I think he's going to be running for his life and may have some difficulty trying to get that ball out. But it all depends on the running games. For the Rams, they got Devontae Adams now. They've got Puka, Kyron Williams, and then Stafford's been a little bit banged up, a little bit back, but they say he should be fine. So what do you see in this game, and who are people we should play or sit?
Yeah, I'll be quick with this one because I've talked so much about the Texans. I think C.J. Stroud bounces back this year. Love the Higgins edition. Love the Jalen Noel edition. They'll both be players to keep an eye on today. Nico Collins, you don't have to talk about him. You're playing him. Schultz, I think, will remain involved. The running back situation, Woody Marks, is he going to carve out the wide receiver 3 role? I think he's the only one you would even flirt with taking today. Yes, that includes Nick Chubb. I wouldn't put him in a lineup. The Rams, Puka, Kyron. What else you got?
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, he's a shell of himself.
The old man. The old line of old man sit down type of thing.
Sit down. He's almost in the sit down old man. Good callback, right. Marty. I like that. Yeah. This one, quick. I think this is going to be a boring game. And even though I love the Texans a lot this year, I think it's going to be a kind of boring game. We'll see.
All right. And Tony has a question. Higgins, Golden, Judy, or DJ Moore? He needs 2.
I'm going to go with Golden and Judy. And I'm guessing you're talking about Jalen Higgins and not T. Higgins. And honestly, it doesn't even matter. I'm still going Golden and Judy. T. Higgins could outscore every single one of them, but I just think Golden's going to smash today. I love them at home. They're going to show off their number 1 pick. And Judy is just a perfect play with Flacco at home against the Bengals. I think you got to get him in there.
Yeah. I like Flacco-Judy connection, but if it's T. Higgins, I'd rather go with T. Higgins and Golden. But hope that helped there. All right, a couple more games. We're going to Sunday night. What a great way to end Sunday.
Yeah.
AFC rivals. Mm-hmm. It's the Ravens. Lamar, Henry. Is it just going to be the legs of Lamar and Henry? Who is Lamar going to be throwing to? Is Mark Andrews going to be coming out from the grave a little bit with likely out that he's going to make some plays? Does Lamar even throw to who's going to be that wide receiver that's going to take over? For the Bills, Keon Coleman has an injury. He's questionable. I don't even know if he's going to play. I think that limits the Bills a little bit on the receiver. So, again, it's going back to Cook, Ray Davis, Allen's legs, Kincaid maybe. Who do you like in this game? And thoughts as we close out Sunday night in Buffalo?
Yeah, it's sort of why I worried about the Bills. However, I did have 5 guys for your eyes, even though he's on the practice squad. Gabe Davis. I don't know if they're going to call him up for this game. I think that would have to happen on Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it and they did. But I don't see why he can't just slide in and become their wide receiver 2 or 3, especially with Coleman dealing with an injury, because he played with them his whole career aside from last season. For the Ravens, I think Rashad Bateman is going to be the big surprise this year. I think people, if they drafted him well after Zay Flowers, but I really like what Bateman was showing last year when given the chance, and he just seems more consistent. Flowers has his huge blow-ups. He's got drops. So we'll see. But if you have to, you probably this week playing Flowers more. But if I had to pick between the two, I would probably play Bateman. He's a little more of a possession guy for me, a little more secure. So we'll see how that continues throughout the season. Mark Andrews with no Isaiah Likely should be pretty good, especially week 1, healthy. He was coming back from an injury last year, and he's an old man who's going to sit down soon, but Lamar still loves him and uses him. And Derrick Henry, what I like to see, Keaton Mitchell going into a season completely healthy for the first time.
That's been your boy for years. He's been your boy for years, and he hasn't gotten over that hurdle.
He gets over the hurdle, and then he gets hurt. That's the problem. So Justice Hill, I love too. And Justice Hill after week 1 was everybody's big pickup. So I'm interested to see Keaton Mitchell. They're going to use all those guys to attack this Bills team that somehow is still going to be an offensive juggernaut with no wide receivers. I mean, yeah, they got Khalil Shakur. They got 2 tight ends. They got 2 running backs or 1 and then a half of 1 if you don't think Ray Davis is up to James Cook yet. But I think it's going to be closer than it was last year, obviously. We'll see if Keon Coleman plays. I do think the Bills win this one somehow, some way. However, I think the Ravens are the better team just because they have more weapons. But I do think the Bills win. It's going to be you nailed it. A perfect way to end today.
Yeah. Yeah. Gabe Davis, they say he's still on the practice squad. He's
Yeah.
trying to get in shape. He had a torn meniscus. So
Okay.
I don't see you're going to see him probably for a few weeks.
Weeks,
if Ken Coleman's still banged up or hurt, you're probably going to see him sooner than later for sure. All right. Monday night. We've talked about this. I mean, your boy, J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Got a lot of tools there. We've talked about this on Wednesday night. Playing the Bears. And we've talked a lot about the Bears. They have quite a few weapons, and how are they going to be utilized? I mentioned I have Romeo Odunze. I'm worried about him. Is he going to get the targets, or is it going to be DJ, or is there going to be between Kmet and the rookie tight end Colton Loveland? You got DJ Swift. Is he going to be utilized like he was at the Lions? Not that you have their offensive coordinator as their head coach. And then the Vikings, besides Addison being out, you've got just a ton of tools for JJ to settle in and really get comfortable here. What are you looking for on a Monday night? 43.5 over under, and the weather should be pretty good.
Just real quick, because I forgot with the Giants game, I want to see how Jalen Hyatt looks today. Keep an eye on him as well, because he put on a lot of pounds, so I'm hoping he can put it together. So for the Giants, Jalen Hyatt, we put him on the 5 guy for your eye, but now I can't because I talked about him. And that's what I want to do, is make it tougher on myself. Now back to this game. The Vikings, you mentioned it. Yeah, here he is, Stone for hands, right? There he is, TJ Stone for hands for the Vikings, along with Jefferson. Ty Felton is a rookie that they have, who's a nice little speedster to go along with Jalen Naylor, who I was so glad was healthy last year, and he made a splash. Those two guys together are going to more than make up for Addison in this game. The running back situation, I think Mason is going to be a perfect complement for the old man, Aaron Jones. So they got a lot of weapons. Now, for the Bears, the biggest hurdle for them is going to remain that offensive line, because now they got the head coach that makes the explosive offense, and Ben Johnson. The offense that in Detroit is now in Chicago. Okay, so it's important that people realize that the offense that we've come to know and love and get excited about in Detroit is now the Chicago offense. But can the offensive line protect Caleb Williams enough? It's going to be huge in this one. This is what I'm looking for. I'm so glad it's a Monday night game, because I think there's so much to really look at. The Bears, is the line better? Is the offense going to be more in tune and explosive? How's J.J. McCarthy look? So DJ Moore, I'm a little down on, because I think Odunze is going to be better than him for the long haul. Might not happen this week. They got 2 tight ends, so if you have to pick and choose, should I play Kmet or should I play Loveland? If you have another guy who's sort of by himself, play the guy that's probably by himself. And the running back, same sort of thing. Roshan, he should play today. They got Manon guy, the rookie, but I really like DeAndre Swift this year. I do.
All right, question. So say Pearsall or Odunze in the flex half PPR.
I'm going to go with Pearsall. I like them both. I'm going to go with Pearsall. I know the Monday Night Magic is strong with Odunze. So if your gut tells you Odunze, I'm all for it. I'm going to go with Pearsall. The only reason that I'm fighting with myself, the only reason I would switch this 51 Pearsall, 49 Odunze to the other way around, flop it, is because if the 49ers do destroy Seattle, like I have a feeling they might, I think Chicago will be playing more catch up. However, I think the destroy comes from a lot of short fields, and stuff like that could help Pearsall as well. He's a deep down target, but he could get in over the middle. So I like Pearsall slightly over Odunze, but I'm fine with either one.
Yeah, it's 50.5 to 49.5 for me, but I'm going to go with the Monday Night Magic with Odunze.
Okay. I like it.
Pearsall, though, has a lot of upside, but I think Odunze has a higher ceiling, and it's Monday night. I'm hoping my team's locked already, so Odunze is just going to shine, and I won't have to worry about him. But really a tough choice. All right, Darren has a question. Ridley, Swift, Diggs, Jameson Williams, or Warren. He needs 2, and it's a full PPR.
Is that Stefan? There hasn't been a single mention of Stefan in this whole program. I think your safest options, honestly, Darren, are Ridley and Jameson. However, I would play Swift and Warren. I just have a feeling that they're going to catch a ton of passes today, both of them, and tomorrow with Swift. JMO could catch a ton of passes too. Ridley could catch a ton of passes too. I think the Packers are going to do what they do to not let Jameson beat them downfield. I think they have to make a point of that. So whether or not they can execute it, that's what we're going to have to see. Diggs, I'm just casting to the side for now. Ridley, we talked about. They have some other options. Don't hate them, but I'm going to go with Swift and Warren just because Ridley's matchup is so tough.
Man, we're on the same track. I agree. Really, if he was playing almost any other team, I'd go leading with him, but I don't like him against Denver. Jameson Williams is going to be a couple big plays, but I think they're going to be going a lot of running and using other tools. You'll see Williams a little bit. Diggs is tossed aside. So Warren, we talked about not only running, he's going to dump off from Rodgers. I think Rodgers is he's going to be the safety net for Rodgers. And for Swift, Ben Johnson's offense, Swift's going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs guy, and so besides running, you're going to dump off. They don't have they're banged up a little bit in the running back, so I like Swift and Warren too. All right, Chris has a question: Pearsall or Egbuka? I'm also starting Mike Evans.
Now I automatically saw the first half of that where he said Pearsall or Egbuka, and I said Egbuka, and then I saw I'm also starting Mike Evans. And that takes it down a notch, but I think I'm going to stick with it because I do think that game's going to be pretty high scoring, and I think Marty thinks so as well. Division game, very high over-under. I love Baker. And I think that having both of the top 2 wide receivers, I think the only person at the end of the night, if you played Egbuka and Mike Evans, the only person that you would want to print out a picture of and throw darts at or shoot it or scribble on it is Sterling Shepard. I think if Sterling Shepard rekindles his college love with Baker because they played together in college and they loved each other and they're good friends, I think he's the only person that could destroy Egbuka and Evans both having a really good game. But I would go Egbuka.
I agree. All right. So I've got the guest final say. It's throwing you a curveball here. So here we go. Of the remaining games here in week 1, who is your must-start quarterback?
I mean, must-start quarterback? I think you must start Joe Burrow.
All right. Quarterback to sit.
Lamar and Josh Allen, and you can't say Jalen because he already played. Like, those are gimmies. I wanted to go a little lower. I think you must start Joe Burrow, even though it's on the road, even though it's an inter-state game. Joe Burrow's the answer. I'm sticking to it.
Must sit quarterback.
Must sit quarterback. Jared Goff.
Oh, Jared Goff. I thought you were
because I don't want to do layups.
All right. All right.
I could do a layup with Rattler. I could do a layup with Sam Darnold. But I'm going to pick somebody that people are actually starting, and I'm going to say Jared Goff.
Okay. Running back. Let's start running back.
All right, I'll do a gimme. Bijan. You got to play Bijan. Come on.
All right.
Should have been number 1 overall.
Must sit running back.
Oh, must sit running back. I got to run through this whole gamut in my head. Kenneth Walker.
All right. We've talked a lot about wide receivers. Who's your must-start wide receiver?
Oh, that's Matthew Golden.
All right. And must-sit wide receiver.
Ugh, why are you throwing these curveballs at me? I don't want to say Ridley. We talked about him a lot. I don't think you have to sit him. I think you could sit him. Must sit? This is so tough because I would sit. Marty, you're killing me. Must sit. All right, I'm going to say you must sit Juwan Jennings. You must sit him.
All right. And finally on the tight end, I think there's a couple. I think you're leaning on. Who's your must-start tight end?
Must start tight end. You must start. This is tough too. Let's go Kyle Pitts. You must start Kyle Pitts. If you got no better options.
I knew you were going to say that. You're really high on that.
You must start Kyle
finally
Pitts.
To end, who you going to sit? Who's the must sit tight end?
Must sit tight end. You know, I'm just going to do it, even though I think I'm going to be wrong here. Laporta.
All right. There you go. I just wanted to see what you say there. Your guest final say. Hey, that's week 1. Anything else to add, guess?
No. I mean, just the title. Like, today means nothing. It really means nothing. In all truth, it means 25% at most of the information we're going to need 4 weeks from now. Because don't overreact. It's become so cliche. I swear, Rob and I, 3 years ago, were telling people this, and now when I listen or watch things, all I hear is don't react to week 1. I never heard that before. And now I hear it every single time anything fantasy. Maybe it was on and I just wasn't listening. But it's the truth. And people are already overreacting after Thursday. They were overreacting after Friday. And that's the way it happens. Don't go super crazy with the guys that blow up when it becomes waiver time. Last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I think the guy was DeAndre Swift. He had a bad week 1. And I said, you want to go pick him up? People are going to drop him. Sure enough, they dropped him. And then when you were allowed to pick him up a few days later, he had weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where he was absolute league winner for those weeks. He won all your weeks. So just don't go crazy. You drafted guys. Give them some time. Give them some time.
All right. Yeah, I think when I started off with this, with panic in the streets, you know, the red light alerts just flashing, everyone's panicking. Got to settle in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping with 5 eyes for your guys and some of the analysis and names that you give that when we come on Tuesday or Wednesday and talk about.
It'll be Tuesday.
We'll
do Tuesdays. We'll do Tuesdays because yep.
Yeah.
So we'll be back Tuesday. Good luck today. Yep.
So thanks for joining again. Don't forget to follow us and like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, tell your friends, tell your enemies. We love the interaction with you in the guest community. So thanks for joining us this Sunday morning, and good luck everyone on week number 1.
Yeah, and thank you, Marty, again for helping us out with this. Good luck today. Good luck, everybody.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.